So we're now going to be talking about transpiration. And transpiration is just a fancy way of vocabulary term of saying how water moves through the plant. It's a process, and it's a very important process for the plant, and I'll explain the reason for that later on. But first I'd like to introduce the idea with a short video clip that I have, and I'm going to start playing it.
Plants transport water and nutrients from their roots to their leaves through a vascular tissue called xylem. These are dead, empty cells which connect end to end, forming long continuous tubes. Because water molecules carry a slight electric charge, they're attracted to each other. This natural attraction, known as cohesion, links the molecules in long continuous chains. At the leaves, water escapes the xylem and evaporates through microscopic pores on the surface called stomata. As each molecule breaks loose, it pulls up another molecule to take its place. This continuous pulling tension extends all the way down the xylem tube to the roots. Here, the rising chain of molecules keeps pressure low, allowing water and nutrients to enter through osmosis.
All right, so we're going to get out of that so it doesn't start and open up to the PowerPoint presentation part of it. And while you are, we need to have your notes that you have, which look like this. I passed out that handout, and you're going to be marking up those notes for the presentation. So let's start off with just talking a little bit about what the video said. Now, if you need to see that video again, please go ahead and do that. And I will get my pen to start creating a script, hopefully. Move this down. There we go. Okay. In color, we'll use black. So, couple things of why transpiration is so important. We had said in the very beginning that plants need several things. And we were saying that plants need water, they need carbon dioxide, which I'll put as CO2, they need oxygen, they need nutrients, and what else did we say? They need food and sunlight. Okay. So, first of all, let's talk about water. Water is incredibly important because, first of all, for all cells, need water to keep their shape. Whether or not, if they don't keep their shape, then they can't function. So they need to have enough water inside of them. They need water to do chemical reactions. And the most important chemical reaction that the plant needs to do is a chemical reaction called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is where a plant makes its food, specifically making glucose. And if you remember, glucose is a monosaccharide. So it is the simple carbohydrate, going back to the first semester, and this monosaccharide acts as food for the plant. All right? So in order to have this glucose be made, the plant needs certain ingredients, and I'm sure this is nothing new to you. It needs to have carbon dioxide, and it needs to have water. Those are the ingredients to making its own food, and with those two things, with the help of sunlight, it can make C6H12O6, which is our glucose, and we have a byproduct of O2, which is oxygen, all right? So when we are talking about plants and having water, they need to have water, first of all, as we said, to keep their shape, but very important is that they need that water for photosynthesis. And every cell needs to have water so that it can photosynthesize. Well, I shouldn't say that because root cells don't photosynthesize, but most cells in the plant that are green actually will do a little bit of photosynthesis, particularly the cells in the leaf. Okay? So in order to have photosynthesis happen, we need to have carbon dioxide and we need to have water. So it's really important that that leaf gets its water. So I'm going to clear this right now, and you can just rewind it if you need to. And so let's just quickly draw the tree here with its branches, with its roots. And here we have a branch, and eventually it goes to one big leaf. All right, so we know that water, and we'll draw that in blue. We'll do light blue. Water moves in from the root, goes up the plant, through the xylem, continues moving to the actual leaf. And as you saw in the video, these water molecules, they all stick together so that it's this column that keeps going up and up and up with no air bubbles. And the way that I wanted, the analogy I often use is, do you guys remember those Pez candies where you have this little device where you open up its head and then the candy comes out and then the next candy is ready to go? Same sort of thing for the water, okay? So the water is just all lined up, ready to head to the leaf, okay? So it's a complete solid column of water. So now let's take a look at the next slide, which is the image that you have, and draw on that. So from this petriole is what it's called, the water moves into all of these sorts of veins over here, okay? So it might go this direction, it might go this direction, it more or less fills up this leaf. So specifically the ones we're talking about are these vessels right here, okay? And this here being the xylem. And the water slowly seeps out into these cells through a process of osmosis. There's a low concentration of water in this leaf. And you will see that for this top part of the leaf, you have cells that are really, now I'll use the yellow color, they are very close together, bunched together. And the reason is that these are the ones that capture light. They want to be as close together as possible. And they do a really good job of it because they want to capture as much as possible. On the very top here, you have something that they call here as the waxy cuticle. And this keeps the water in the leaf. It sort of is a way to protect it. Sort of like the sunscreen of the leaf, okay? Also, water, though, has to go to these other places. And the other places here where water is seeping into have specific names. So this whole area over here, H, as you notice, is called mesophyll. And mesophyll contains these palisade layers, and again, it'll actually show you that on your diagram as I, so you know exactly how it's written. And it has this area right over here that are these spongy layers. And these spongy layers are really cool because they actually look like a sponge. And what they do is their sole purpose, the way that they've evolved, the reason that they have, is that oxygen and carbon dioxide can move in here. So we have CO2 and oxygen moving in and out of here, okay? And so they bathe this whole area with loads of CO2. So we have a high concentration of CO2 everywhere. And this CO2 with water going in there are giving us all those ingredients that we need to make food for the plant. Because remember, CO2 plus H2O can produce glucose with the help of sunlight. Now the cool thing is that this water sometimes has to leave, okay, through these openings. And as it leaves, it pulls the other water molecule up. And we saw that in the video. So one water molecule leaves, that means it pulls the other one because it's so sticky and magnetic out again. And so it moves this whole column of water continuously up and up and up. Again, just like that Pez idea, that as one candy leaves your Pez head, then the next candy is ready to go, and you always have to stack them up with more and more and more to have that. So that's pretty much how the leaf has evolved to be able to have the carbon dioxide and the water it needs. It gets the water from the roots. It's being pulled because of water's attraction to each other. Some of that water leaves, and in our transpiration, this is called, lab, we call this transpiration. And so through this hole, this what we call our stoma or stomata, water leaves, and through the same hole we have carbon dioxide and oxygen coming in. So it's kind of this huge shopping mall where things are leaving, coming in all through the stoma, and eventually it's because all the cells want to have that carbon dioxide and water. And that pretty much concludes transpiration, which again is the movement of water, and also how things move, how those gases move into the leaves. So for your homework, I'm going to have you write an introduction of why is it that water is important and carbon dioxide is important, getting that into the leaf, and how does it move into the leaf in detail. Okay, so please look through this video again if you need to, and I will see you later on, next class period.